Welcome to the Furious Focus. This is your host, Golden Zermic. I'm here today with Chris Lavoie, also known in posher circles as Chris Lavoie, if I
Uh,
if I dare say.
Mostly in Canada.
Great having you on board today.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I've known Chris for a while. We talked back in early 2000s, I guess, when Facebook was just starting up and everything else.
I think so.
And we
Yeah.
found each other through other circles, bodybuilding circles, and other things like that. But we got a
Yep.
good conversation at the time about technology, and you're working in
Mhm.
radio, and I work with
Mhm.
photography, and we kind of found a common ground there to talk about advancements in tech and how it was impacting things at the time. But before we get too far into the weeds, for those that don't know you or what you do, who are you?
I am a radio producer, have been my entire life, my entire career. I got started in radio in 1992 when I graduated from college. Went to Arizona State University, the Walter Cronkite School of Broadcasting and Telecommunication. And I'm one of the few people that actually began working in my chosen career from broadcasting because broadcasting was hard to get into.
Mm-hmm.
I started working for a country station in Phoenix. And while I was there, we became the number one station in the
Nice.
market. So I was pretty happy about that. Knew nothing about country music going in. But now I know everything there is to know about country music from the years of 1992 to 1997 because that's when I worked in country music. Those were the days of Garth Brooks and Brooks and Dunn and Alan Jackson. And so like the country music was huge back then.
Right.
Yeah, I started handing out bumper stickers at the country station there in Phoenix and worked my way up to they gave me an overnight on the weekend shift. Glad to have it just to be on the air because that's really what I wanted to do. And then they asked me if I wanted to produce the morning show, which was Tim and Willie in the morning.
Uh-huh.
It was basically a top 40 morning show that just played country music. So, that's what we did. We had a lot of fun. We were a morning zoo format and sorry, my cat.
Oh, no problem. My doggies are downstairs for a reason.
Yeah. And so, we were the number one morning show in the market. I learned a lot from them. I learned a lot about doing quality radio from them. And then in 96, we got the invitation to move the show to Chicago. So I lived in Chicago for a year,
Mm,
number three market in the country. Glad to be doing that. But
yeah.
but the station never really took off.
Mhm.
So they changed format within a year. And so I had to look for another job. Found a job in Los Angeles with a woman named Stephanie Miller. She worked in talk radio. And I've kind of been working with Stephanie Miller on and off since 1997.
Yeah, you've been
Uh,
with her for a while.
yeah, and she also had a morning zoo background, and she just applied that to talk radio. And so I fit in well with that. We do comedy. We're a left leaning comedy based talk show for 3 hours every weekday morning on a whole bunch of stations across the country. On Sirius XM satellite radio, we're on TV, on Free Speech TV, on the Free Speech TV app, on like Apple TV and Roku and everywhere else. And so we podcast. We put out 3 different podcasts a day, and
Wow. Busy.
yeah, yeah. So, well, you kind of have to be, and
Uh,
that's part of what we'll go into.
exactly.
With the changing media landscape, you just have to be able to adapt, and that's what we've been able to do.
That's
So,
great. That's
yeah,
great.
and so that's where I am now.
What actually drove you to want to be in broadcasting to begin with? What was it that kind of lit that spark or that fire?
I was a great big dork when I was in grade school. I would record songs off of the radio, and then I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I was talking up the post. I would introduce the song over the introduction up until the time that the people sang in the song. And I was, without knowing it, I was developing radio skills. So uh, and so that's what I would do. And when I went to college, it was 1987, and it was the Reagan years. And I'm like, okay, everybody's getting a business degree, so I'll get a business degree too. Turns out I don't have the aptitude for math or anything like that. So halfway through college, I switched over to broadcast journalism
Mm,
because I figured that sounds like fun. It sounds like something I could do. And so I did it. I started working for the college radio station, playing alternative music there. My roommate and I did the morning show at the college radio station for a couple of years.
Oh,
And
wow.
we developed a rapport. We developed the skills on how to interact with each other, not to step over each other and stuff like that. Graduated in 5.5 years because of the late
A little
shift
bit of a shift.
in majors, but yeah, did it and was lucky to get a job with a bunch of people at the number one station in Phoenix that knew exactly how to put on good radio.
With that, there was a certain energy, I'm sure, back in the early 90s before a lot of this other tech came into the scene. What
Yeah,
was that
yeah.
like? Was it, I guess it'd be unique in a way. I guess 90s is so close to 80s. I'm thinking of the 80s when I was growing up, but it was like that transitional period.
It was busy, it was intense, but it was before deregulation in the broadcast industry. In 1997, I believe it was, Bill Clinton deregulated the broadcast industry. And so that's when all of these conglomerates formed.
Mhm.
Before that, station owners were only allowed to own 12 stations, I believe, across the country, and
Okay.
only two in a market, one FM and one AM. So our station was like a family. Our sales department only worked for our station. Our general manager was only for our station.
Gotcha.
Our engineering team was only for our station. So we gave each other so much attention
Mhm.
that we could survive and we could do what we wanted to do with ease. And ever since deregulation came along and a station group could own 6 stations in a market, then everybody's attention was kind of like spread out.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what led to the beginning of the decline of the radio industry.
Gotcha.
We'll get into that, but then things started to become automated. A lot of really good people started to lose their jobs. And a lot of people got out because they could see what was coming. And, when was the last time you listened to the radio?
I mean, generally on my way to the gym, I do the local stations, but
Okay,
that's only
all
if,
right.
but that's only if I forget my phone or if I can't plug into YouTube Music, right, or
Exactly.
anything like that.
Exactly. Yes. People just don't listen to the radio anymore. They've switched over to podcasting or,
Mhm.
or listen to Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. People in the radio industry have either had to leave it or have had to adapt. And I'm one of the lucky ones that was able to adapt.
Right.
So I'm still in the industry.
Well, that actually leads into my next question. When that automation started to appear, did the broad sense of everybody view it as like helpful? Was it marketed as helpful? Or was it more of a, oh my God, this is going to change everything? It's a threat situation.
At first, it was helpful because the music directors of the stations could automate some of the more repetitive stuff that
Hmm.
they had to do, and so it was seen as helpful. But um, I yeah, I made the transition from music radio to talk radio in mid 1997. So that's kind of when things were starting to become automated,
I see.
especially in music radio. So I kind of made the switch right at the right time. Talk
Hmm.
radio was able to hold on a little bit longer
Right.
because you can't automate talk. It has to come from people. It can't
100%.
come from a computer
Hmm.
yet.
I know. I
Uh,
know. Yeah.
right. And so I was able to hold on a little bit longer. And what we did with the Stephanie Miller show, we did comedy based talk radio at first at night from 7 to 9 at night. And
Okay.
so we were a perfect fit for a nighttime show. We could let loose. We could, get a little more naughty, if you will. Then in 2000, I left. Well, the Stephanie Miller show got canceled, as shows do. And so I left
Mhm.
and went back to Phoenix to work for the conservative talk station, which was also the number one station in Phoenix. I was able to work there for 4 years and get some real producing chops. And I could
Mhm.
see, because then I went to work for Clear Channel Communications, which became a behemoth in broadcasting. They're now called iHeartMedia, which you
Right.
may have heard of. They do the
Yep.
iHeartRadio app, and then they pretty much own every station.
Everything. Yeah, that's all the local ones here advertising the show on iHeartRadio.
Exactly, exactly. And so they hoovered up all of the smaller radio groups. And they did that as I was working for them. And so
Mhm.
we had, I think, 8 stations in our station group in Phoenix by the time I left. And they were trying to use their music automation software in a talk radio environment. We tried to do that, but it just didn't really fit. All we could do was just kind of like jerry rig it. And they played the commercials automatically, but we had to put in these really long breaks so that the talk radio people could talk, you know?
Right.
And so we could kind of see that they were trying to figure out a way to automate talk radio. And eventually they kind of did. And so a lot of these local talk shows went away and were replaced by national talk shows. And so that's kind of what you see nowadays, especially in conservative
Well, I
media.
could say, here they're mostly conservative, and a lot of the local stuff is early morning.
Morning shows are still the most common local stuff that you'll see in markets across the country. But after like 9 o'clock in the morning, it's all nationally syndicated.
Just a side question. Is that where the hard breaks come in? Is that programmed break that you were mentioning, the really long breaks where you like have to take a break because, oh God, we're coming up on a hard break?
We do have to stop down at exactly the right time at the top of the hour and at the bottom of the hour, only because that's when like Fox News and CBS News will send their national newscast right at the top of the hour and right at the bottom of the hour. We also have breaks at like 20 and 50, but we can kind of move those around because the local affiliates don't have to meet a specific time.
Yeah, so, I've always wondered because they're always talking away and they're like, oh shit, we gotta break, or they just get cut off.
Exactly. So those are hard breaks at the top and bottom of the hour. And then we have the soft breaks on either side of that.
Perfect sense. Yeah. We could kind of segue into the whole AI impact thing. In photography, a lot of my business was affected with the rollout in 2022. I'm in like 5 different industries across the board. It's like, wow, they just got touched and wiped the hell out. Cover design, especially in like the book world, was just obliterated. I know, a good 70% of my clients and associates, they're gone, they're out. And it's just been really impactful. But I've noticed a lot of shifts. The assistive stuff is great. Like you said, the ones that are automating the repetitive tasks, etc. I used a lot of that stuff in Photoshop when it was there. But it's the hard generative stuff that really takes that automation.
The wholesale creation of people, out of absolutely nothing. I'm sure that's what's affecting you the most.
Oh, exactly. And a lot of people made that switch. And it just boggles my mind that people, I mean, you're running a business, you want to obviously reduce costs and do all this stuff. Fine.
Absolutely.
But a lot of these things are in service of other things, like the writing books thing. So you're going to cut out all the stuff, buying your photos from people, etc., but not realizing, well, your books are going to eventually become the same thing. And Amazon's going to do a subscription service for a story generator, train on all your books anyway. And then boom, hit the button and they're going to get paid, but y'all aren't going to get paid anywhere.
Exactly.
But it's been such a widespread, literal explosion of tech. And I understand adapting. I live through it. I love technology. And, I'm half Asian. It's like it's in my blood. I gotta bring the Korean and all that stuff with it.
Yeah.
But it's scary at the same time because it's affected so much. It's like that corporate ladder thing. Normally it affects one industry at a time, automated cars, etc. But no, this is like all levels of all ladders at the same time. A little bit of hyperbole, but mostly.
No, it's not hyperbole. I totally get what your industry is going through because, my industry to a lesser extent went through the same thing in the early 2000s. A whole bunch of friends completely lost their jobs all within the span of 5 years. And there was literally nothing I could do about it. I could give them advice or whatever, but sometimes the advice was valuable. Sometimes it wasn't.
Right.
Sometimes it was just the luck of the draw or what radio group you worked for or where you were on the corporate ladder. There was just nothing you could do about it. And it was hard to watch. My old roommate that I used to do the college radio show with, he went on to work for a country station in Norfolk, Virginia, which is actually my hometown. And so I knew the station he was working at. And he did the afternoon drive show and he worked his way up to program director and he was really, really successful in the market. He was number 5 station in the market. And then they went all automated just one day and he lost his 20-year career.
That's crazy.
And he went to go work for an auto dealership selling cars.
Yeah. And that's what gets me about this adaptability argument that people have. Granted, we do have to do it, but I don't want to spend eternity now pivoting from job to job to job to job because of the threat of it being wiped out or something else. It seems like that's the road we're on, is where a lot of this stuff, it's low hanging fruit now, but like you said, down the road with even talk radio, there's a possibility.
I can see it coming.
Same.
It will happen.
And
Hopefully not during my lifetime or during my career, because I'm getting up there in age, and so hopefully I'll be out of it by the time it comes around. But it's coming. It will happen.
Well,
there will be an AI generated talk host that will be successful.
That's it. Right now, there's a lot of slop out there.
Thankfully, there's a lot of slop. Slop is training AI generators
100%.
on how to be good.
And when I first started like thinking about doing this podcast, I'm like, oh, finally, I'll get all my equipment. First article that pops up on Google when I open it up, AI generated podcast on Spotify are just taking off. And I'm like, great, there's 3,000 being released a day. And I'm like,
yeah,
come on.
Creative industries are under attack. And I don't know what to do about it.
Exactly the frustrating part. I mean, now I've let my voice to talking about it incessantly.
Yeah.
But what can you actually do? I've emailed my representatives and kind of got the generic responses back. Oh, we'll take a look. I tried to reframe it across the board because, as you know, with this tech, it's a lot of negative people will do negative things with it, and it's super easy to do now, like scams, etc. But I tried to reframe it into that argument, but I don't know if it's falling on any ears that are willing to listen, or if the powers that are lobbying with their billions of dollars to
powers that see dollar signs in their eyes. Yeah, 100%. They see dollar signs in their eyes. Yeah,
exactly.
It costs money to pay people. It doesn't cost money to type something into an AI generator.
I had a back and forth online, and it's a terrible thing to do. Getting involved in the comment sections of any social. But I went back and forth with one ages ago, and I decided to just do a follow up. I blocked them, but then I unblocked them. And then went and looked, and this person was a major advocate for the generative AI thing. Oh, it's going to change the way I do my business. Rocking and rolling, making more money than now he's unemployed looking for work.
Of course.
And I'm like, because you're still the middleman, and the whole tech exists to cut out the middleman.
Absolutely. If you are the middleman, you're in danger.
Exactly. They need to adapt their own mindset to this new reality that's being pushed. But all we can do is talk about it and hopefully change a mind or two along the way.
I hope so.
I sometimes feel like I'm talking into the wind during a hurricane, and it's just like I just hear my own voice coming back at me. Muffled, of course, but yeah.
Yeah. At least it's not an AI generated voice.
Oh, I know. Yet, right?
Just as an example, we have this guy that writes parodies for us. His name is Rocky Mountain Mike. He's a brilliant parody writer. And sometimes if he can't get someone to record a line for him in one of the parody songs, he will have AI generate it, and it will sound phenomenal. He's just using it as a tool to improve his work. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
A parody that he did a couple of weeks ago, he wanted to get me recording a line or whatever, and I just plain old ran out of time. And so he just got AI to generate me reading the line. And I'm like, it sounds fine. It's not me. And I'm glad you were able to do it, because I wasn't able to do it at the time. But, what can you do?
I know, right? And people are going to do it anyway. And I don't know what it is about creative industries and just the internet in general that has just been this craze of just taking everybody else's stuff whenever, especially like likenesses. I would hate to be a celebrity. I mean, I would have hated it back then. But like in today's world, it's like, God, they're going to render you doing anything, really. And I've seen some pretty terrifying, quote unquote, stuff that they have people doing. And I'm like, what? And it's just like, oh, it was online. I just thought I would do it. And it's like, okay, well, we used to take skill to do. Now you just plug it in the computer.
Exactly. And unless you have the money to hire a lot of lawyers, what can you do about it?
Just as an aside, kind of tied to all of this, because you do a lot of work that's literally copyrighted and stuff like that. Are we entering an era where copyrights and trademarks are pretty much dead?
I don't think so, especially in the last couple of days. There's been a lot of movement by big companies asserting their copyrights over AI-generated material. It's escaping me right now. There's a big company that I think, was it Disney?
Yeah, Disney just did Midjourney not too long ago, and I think Warner sued them as well. Yeah,
right. And so Big companies are starting to assert their dominance in this. And, this is one case where I hope the big companies win,
I know I'm not normally rooting for them too much, but
Right.
at this time I'm like, yeah, because honestly, these things exist to protect smaller creators as well. It's just we don't have
Mhm.
access to the legal funds and teams of lawyers that these
Right.
people do. But it's nice to see
Exactly.
some pushback on that because I felt as though it was a long time coming, and I don't know if it's too late, but I'm glad to see it now.
I don't think it's too late.
Okay.
I think, we've seen the small fry,
Mhm.
putting together. It all starts with porn. We've seen the small fry putting together
Always.
porn. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
But now that it's becoming really mainstream and it's becoming really good, and you can really tell that Sora used this photo or this image of
Oh,
Mickey
yeah.
Mouse to do this, that's where the big companies are taking notice. And that's happening
Exactly.
more and more. And I think it's going in the right direction.
I certainly hope so. And I'm glad to hear you say that because I don't hear it a lot. I know it's a cesspool, but if you like open the Reddit, Reddit's on AI. I don't know why I open those, but I have to see what they're thinking. I just torture myself into just fits of anger. Lives up to the Furious name, though, so I guess that's why I do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's incredible what people excuse and allow when it doesn't directly affect them. Let it happen to a family member, and then your tune will change.
Exactly. We'll see. I think it's moving in the right direction because big money is starting to get involved.
Yeah, and
And
yep,
in our culture, in capitalism, money
money
talks.
talks. So looping back to SM Radio Productions, how do you kind of allay the fears, if any, in your departments of the
Mhm.
way things are going technologically and with the potential for losing a job down the road?
You talk about us like we have departments. We are a four-person operation. We are not owned by like a major company. Stephanie is co-owner of the company. She has a great radio partner. We call him, Rich Uncle Moneybags. He lives in New York, and he's the business guy. He
Right.
started all of these companies that sold ad time on different radio shows and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So he's well versed in all of that, and so he's the one mainly who keeps up on the big picture technological stuff. He's the
Gotcha.
one who said in 2004, hey, there are these things called podcasts that are getting started. We need to be at the forefront of that. And so
Hmm.
we did our first podcast in 2004. So we were honestly one of the first shows. We had to teach people on the air, okay, a podcast is basically a VCR for our radio show. You can start it whenever you want, you can pause it whenever you want, you can skip commercials if you want, but we had to explain to people what a podcast was.
Right.
Eventually we went to a paid model. We got people on board with that because we explained to people that it takes time and it takes money and it takes technology and it takes servers to
Hmm.
to put all this up,
Yep.
and our listeners went along and we explained to them what a podcast was. And then once we got on TV, we were on Current TV, which was owned by Al Gore, and that we were on there for about 3 years, and then he sold it to Al Jazeera, an oil company. And so, don't ask me about Al Gore. We then were on this outfit called Free Speech TV, which was a startup,
Hmm.
and they were only on like a Roku app. And we
Hmm.
had to explain to people what Roku
Oh
was,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
how you download the app. And so we had to go through all of that again. And now it's second nature to everybody. We're on Apple
Right.
TV and all of that. So that's how a large majority of people get us now. We've kind of been on the forefront of all of these new technologies as we've gone along. We've been really happy to have good people working who created SM Radio Productions, and they've said, okay, we need to do this. And we're like, okay, how do we do it? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Hmm.
We've been getting into TikTok and all that. I had to explain to Stephanie how to do TikTok and all that sort of thing. I'm kind of aging out of that kind of technology, so
Oh,
that's not really my thing.
I'm aging out of the whole thing. I tell you, it's like there's just way too much to keep up with. You speak of being four. It's like I'm like the solo guy over here, so I don't want to be like everything under the sun. Nobody told me this before
Exactly.
I went and did this on my own.
Right. But we have a team in New York that helps to put together little minute-long videos of good portions of the show. And so
Mhm.
they put that out there, and we write the captions for it, get the most clicks and all that. So we have to play that game as well.
I
We're
know,
just on the
right?
forefront of that.
Promo is a big piece of it all, for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it
Ugh,
is.
exactly. It's like, oh gosh.
Ron, who helps start the company, he also does a bunch of other radio shows too. And
Mhm.
so, the social media team in New York also works for these other shows.
Gotcha.
So we're able to economize a little bit that way.
That's
But
definitely
we
helpful.
still do a lot. We still do a lot here in Los Angeles. We switch the cameras here in Los Angeles. We don't have a remote control room or anything. So
Mm.
yeah,
Phew. How
yeah.
about yourself? How do you stay sane during everything? Part of this show is also talking about men's mental health. So, how do you
Yep.
keep grounded during one, the stress of working like you do, but two, with
Mhm.
the threat looming and everything else just swirling everywhere? It's just crazy right now.
I work in political talk radio. Politics is insane right now. It's
Hmm.
absolutely insane, and like it's never been before, ever.
Right.
I have learned in the last few years that I have to set boundaries. I had an incident where I posted a photo of myself in North Carolina with a friend of mine who happens to be a Trump supporter. And our listeners got really upset with that, doxed him, doxed his family.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, you guys, this has now gotten personal. So I've had to really set boundaries. And like, I shut off the TV. I stopped working. I stopped preparing for the next day's show at a certain time.
Hmm. Hmm.
After I'm done with the politics portion of my day, I throw on like trash TV, like Real Housewives or something like that. I
Something to
just
empty the brain.
exactly.
100%.
I have to do that in order to stay sane. And recently, I took down all of my Blue Sky and Threads and X accounts. I just kind of eliminated all of them.
Right.
And that really helped my brain too. I wasn't doom scrolling. I wasn't fighting with people. I wasn't getting a lot of FOMO. That really helped my mental state as well.
I totally agree with that whole sensibility. It's like I don't even log really into IG anymore or any of these other ones. I
Right.
pre-schedule stuff for the business thing to auto post to my business accounts, but
Yeah.
as far as opening that app, nope, I don't really do it anymore.
Uh-uh.
Mm-mm.
No, in fact, in the past week and a half, I've like deactivated my Facebook and Instagram accounts
Mhm.
just to see how I felt, and I felt great.
Mhm.
I haven't felt like I've been trying to keep up with people.
Right.
I felt really good. I just happened yesterday morning to sign back into my Facebook account to see if I'd missed anything, and I immediately felt that bad feeling come back.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, that's what causes it. And so I deactivated my account again, and we'll see how long it goes. If people want to get a hold of me, they have my cell phone number.
I direct people
Yeah.
to my business email all the time. People want to DM for business. I'm like, no, just email me or go to the website. Hit the contact button right there. That's what it's
Yep.
there for.
It may seem old fashioned to younger people, but those are the boundaries that I've set for myself.
100%. I'm right there with you. Otherwise, I'm going to get wrapped up in all that stuff the way the world is, and then the dysmorphia too on top of that. And I don't need it.
Oh,
It's
there's that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll try
Yeah.
to stay fitter, and then mentally we're just sliding down the turd pile.
Yep.
It's terrible.
Exactly.
So speaking of staying fit and healthy and things of that nature,
Huh?
I mean, one, we've talked about the mental clarity now of like removing social media, not necessarily fully from our lives, but on the way to there.
Right. I
But
still maintain the show's social media accounts.
Mhm,
So,
exactly.
I'm still there. I just don't like doom scroll. I post stuff for business. Here's who's coming up on the show today, blah, 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 that sort of thing. That's all I do. And then I go right back out again. The show's account. So
Exactly.
I don't
So you don't
see-
ever see anything else on there. Exactly.
Exactly.
But as far as
Yeah.
staying fit and other things, I mean, you're in California, sunny all the time. I'm sure you do a lot of walking, cardio, gym time.
We're expecting an inch and a half of rain tomorrow. So
Oh, well,
not
I
sunny
take
all the
that.
time.
I take that back. Throw it in the garbage. Most of the time, it's sunny. where
Most of
you
the
are.
time, yes. And, and we're in the 70s all throughout the winter. So,
I really
it
hate
could
you
be
for
worse.
that. You know that? I hate, yeah. It's like when it gets down
Well,
into the single digits here. I'm in North Alabama. It's not supposed to be snowing and cold, but it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, probably the climate there is like the climate I went to high school with in Hampton, Virginia. The occasional single digit day, but nothing too bad.
Right. Most of the time, we got 11 inches of snow one year that was unexpected, and we were stuck in the house for a week. But that's just I know, right?
I bet you still wore your booty shorts to the gym though.
Oh, you know me too well. I certainly did. They're just permanently on, you know, like I have a t-shirt for this podcast and I'm like, no, Chris is coming on. I think I'm going to wear the tank top.
Well, I saw the preview video that you did for the podcasting, and I'm like, okay, using a tank top, I'll wear a tank top.
It's a casual show, unless I'm doing a debate, which nobody signed up for my AI debate yet. But hopefully this message will get out there. So if you want to debate me on the pros and cons of AI, please feel free to email the show. It's definitely something we need to do. Keep more tab on our physical and our mental health today, especially as men. It tends to get overlooked in society. And I think it's an important piece that needs to be at least kept in the forefront for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's part of my mental health is physical health. And, people ask me why I go to the gym every day. I'm like, you know what? Doing repetitive motions is kind of zen for me. I enjoy it. I like doing it. It helps to clear my head because, I'm at the studio at 5 a.m. That's too early to go to the gym. So I go to the gym after work. And that's a good way of like rebooting my brain, do a few hours of work in the afternoon, getting ready for the next day's show. And it's a good way to reboot my brain and just get started on the afternoon stuff.
For me, it's something that's still within my level of control. It's not something that I'm giving up control on to other people or a social media platform. It's something that I can kind of keep a hold of and drive myself to do. That way, if I fail and I can blame myself. Or if I do well, hey, kudos to me. It's something that I can push for and do myself. I think that's a big thing.
It's something I have complete control over.
Exactly.
And it's something that I know how to do pretty well. So I don't dread going to the gym. I don't see it as a chore. When somebody asks me, how do you get yourself to go to the gym every day? I'm like, I like it.
It's automatic for me.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I love doing it. It's not a chore.
Well, if I'm ever out there, we're definitely going to have to cash that little rain check that we've had every time. It's like, I got to get a workout with Chris. I see those posts. Speaking of FOMO, when you were on Facebook and I would see the posts of you working out at like Muscle Beach and stuff, I'd be like, damn it. A little jealous here.
Gold's Venice is a great gym. I left there in March because, it was $100 and I only went there like 3 times a month. So, I just couldn't make it work anymore. But I went there for 3 years, and now I can say that I've worked out next to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Not many people can.
Yeah, it was fun.
Is there anything big coming up? Anything big we can look forward to coming out of the West Coast or from you yourself in the near future?
Last year, the radio show, we did a 13-city tour, a comedy tour with some of our regulars on the show. And we were in places like Durham, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Minneapolis, New York, Boston, Denver, Portland, Seattle. So we had a great time doing that. We're taking this year off, but we may do it again next year for the midterms. We'll see. Maybe not as many cities, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I took this year off of the book scene. I just had to take a mental break, and it was just with everything else going on. It was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Remind my listeners where they can find you and your show.
Yeah, we're on the air in a few cities across the country, like WCPT in Chicago, KTNF in Minneapolis. We're on a small station in Atlanta, and a few other cities. But the main place where you can hear the radio show is on Sirius XM, the Progress Channel 127. We're on from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific every weekday. You can also go to freespeech.org or get the Free Speech TV app for Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and watch us that way. Or you can stream us at politicalvoicesnetwork.com. That's our YouTube channel and our Substack. We're kind of everywhere.
Well, that's a good thing. That's goals then.
And you can look at all of our podcasts. We have a paid podcast. That's the entire show with all of the commercials taken out. But we also have little podcasts here and there of like the best interview of the day or whatnot. And you can search for Stephanie Miller on your favorite podcast app. We're on all of them.
Excellent. So, awesome. Well, Chris, I appreciate your time. It's been great connecting with you. Actually, I think this is the first time we've actually talked for any duration.
It is. I think it is. Yeah. I mean, we've chatted for years.
We've chatted forever and ever, but never actually had I hate getting on like FaceTime. I don't know. I'm just averse. We get the pro cameras going and everything else, you're good to go.
Yes.
Exactly. The only way you'll get me. The only way you get me to answer the damn phone with the video going.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Thanks, Chris. This is the Furious Focus, where we talk about creativity, culture, and the chaos in between. I appreciate you coming on board and talking to us about all the current stuff happening in the world with AI and automation.
Thank you for having me, Golden. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, me too. Me too. It's been great. I appreciate it, Chris.